What's up, y'all? Josh Dobbs, honored to be in Minnesota. Introduce myself to everyone. Tremendous game, like team effort. I know obviously the circumstance that was put in was a little abnormal for a Sunday in the NFL. It's like if you were taking Spanish all year and you showed up and Wednesday someone told you you're taking AP Spanish and someone told you have an AP French exam on Sunday. And you gotta go like execute, someone's gonna talk to you in Spanish and translate it to the French. So that's kind of like what was going on out there.
Josh Dobbs, after yesterday's 31-28 win by the Vikings over the Falcons, a game that he was not going to play at all. Last week, Kevin O'Connell said after the trade that Jaron Hall, the rookie fifth rounder from BYU, would get the start and that Josh Dobbs would play a supportive role. And that was kind of vague, like, is he the package of plays? Dobbs told me after the game he wasn't playing unless Jaron Hall couldn't go. First drive, concussion at the goal line. Enter Josh Dobbs. Had him with the tablet on the sideline.
Like, oh my gosh.
Look, tablet. What are they doing? What are they doing? But, it's amazing. And my superlative is just got here. That's a nod to the Bills injury report last week for Rasul Douglas, another guy who was traded deadline, just got here. And what he did was he put in time with the quarterbacks, Sean Mannion and Nick Mullins, quarterbacks coach. There's an assistant quarterbacks coach whose name is escaping me at this moment, but he's the guy that focused on Dobbs because they had to get Jaron Hall ready. I mean, let's think about this. Yeah. Jaron Hall
Rookie.
Making his first career start in place of Kirk Cousins. They're shell-shocked from what happened to Cousins. They're all discombobulated. They do the trade for Dobbs on Tuesday. They're trying to get Jaron Hall ready. That's the main focus. The assistant quarterback's coach takes Dobbs under his wing. They have a 2.5-hour session after practice on Friday where, you don't need to know the whole playbook. You just need to know the plays that are in the game plan.
That's right.
That's what Dobbs told me.
Yep.
I knew the plays in the game plan well enough to go out and run them. He had Kevin O'Connell constantly in his ear before each play, working. And, Chris, here's the other thing that's amazing because he had some great throws. But he had some great runs. He led all rushers.
That's right.
You think about the team the Falcons have with Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, and Cordell Patterson. You've got Dobbs, and this was the 4th and 7 22-yard run. I said, when do you know that it's time to run? He said, when everyone's covered, because they don't have a spy on me.
Right.
Everyone's covered. Just go. And he's fast. I mean, when he decides he's going to go,
right.
Like when Mahomes goes, it's kind of like all slow motion and everybody just kind of dancing around like, where's Mahomes? When Dobbs goes, he goes.
Yeah, he's got some wheels. He does. I mean, he was a big part of why Arizona's rushing attack was, up there towards the top of football because of some of the quarterback design runs and things they can add in the football game around him that way. I would think that's something we see, going forward with Minnesota. It's remarkable yesterday. It really is. I mean, it's crazy. There's no way he could have known, all the guys on the field. I heard after the game, right, Kevin O'Connell is literally when they were breaking the huddle, like kind of telling them things about the plays, right? Like, and I'm
constantly.
Sure,
he said he was screaming into his headset before every play about what he needed to know. You've got the communication system until 15 seconds, and he was loading it in with extra information.
Break the huddle, you say the play, and in an instance like that, those are the kind of things you read the play, you say it, and then as a quarterback, you're walking the line of scrimmage, you're like, okay, wait, what did I say? What is the play actually? I mean, this clip right here where the offensive line is standing around him so they can hear his snap count and cadence because the starters haven't gone with him so they can get a feel for that when it's out in the field and they don't jump off sides. That's unbelievable. But then O'Connell getting in his ear, I'm sure giving him some, context clues when he's walking up the line of scrimmage. Hey, we want to, X is number 1 on the in cut. Y is running the shallow cross is number 2. And then just look for your check down. I'm sure it was type of reminders like that go a long way to kind of help out a quarterback there. But unbelievable. And I think it speaks, again, a lot to your coach and your defensive coordinator and what you got up there in Minnesota. To win a game like that, they were down 21-13. Atlanta had the ball, and you're going, it just kind of felt like Atlanta's going to put them away here, right, at some point. And then Bijan Robinson fumbles after a nice little run around midfield. You guys go down and get a touchdown. The next play, Atlanta gets the ball back again. Heineke throws an interception. All of a sudden, they're losing the football game, and Minnesota's up. It was a fun game to watch.
And then the Falcons drive down and score,
right.
and that's that. And then the guy that just got there leads them on the drive. And after the game, Kevin O'Connell spikes the headset. He was animated. He was passionate. He was pissed. There was a helmet-to-helmet Jesse Bates on Jordan Addison that was uncalled. He was giving it to the officials. He was working the officials all day. I think it was extra rewarding for him because I go back to last Monday.
Yeah.
His attitude was, this isn't a challenge. This isn't an obstacle. This is an opportunity to dig deep and show what we can do. And that's the kind of validation to everything he's doing. Everyone in that locker room, everyone in that organization is going to be all in with anything he says. When you say to people, follow me on this, trust me on this, I'll make it work, and it works, they're all going to – any doubt that might have been there is gone. So they're all in with this. And I don't know if it's going to be Jaron Hall or Josh Dobbs next week. Dobbs said he hadn't been told anything, but
I'd be shocked if it'd be not.
I mean, if he's that good when he's not ready, sorry, Jaron Hall, but this guy got it done. This guy got the win. You hate to see a guy lose his opportunity because of a head injury, but Dobbs got it done.
Yeah, no, Dobbs got it done. He did, and I would think we're going to see him as a starting quarterback next week.
I got to get my Josh Dobbs jersey. I like it a Josh Dobbs.
I know you do. Especially
you don't need to start pulling petals off. There's no I love him, I love him not. I love him. I've always loved him.
Yeah, they're 5-4. They're in the thick of things here. He does have experience. He played pretty damn good for Arizona before they decided to make the change. So I would think they're going to ride with him. And it was a complete team win there for you guys. The turnovers we talked about. I thought early on in the football game, too, when Atlanta was kind of controlling things, the defense holding Atlanta to field goals.
That's what's amazing.
That was the huge part of the game.
It felt like it was a 20-point game.
It did. There was a lot of times where if you didn't look at the scoreboard, you'd look back at the game and go, wait, they're up by 13-17, right? Isn't it? Oh, what? It's only a one-score game? So that was also kudos to Brian Flores and the defense for helping out in the team effort.
Because Josh Dobbs had a couple of fumbles.
Yeah. Right.
And the Falcons were never able to turn it into touchdowns.
Right.
And one of them, especially very short field, they should have gotten a touchdown. The Vikings defense has been very good. Everyone's stepping up. Everyone's doing their part. Everyone's carrying a little bit extra, working a little bit harder, and that's going to continue. This week, the Saints, we'll see them the next week on Sunday Night Football at Denver. Not an easy place to play. Then they've got the Bears, and they've got their bye. Then they got the Raiders. Their next game that you look and say, oh, we got a problem, is when they go to Cincinnati week 15. But they can keep this going 4 wins in a row, and they can keep it going. And as you've said all along, now, look, I still don't know how I feel about them without Kirk Cousins in the playoffs. But the defense is so much better, and the team collectively is better than it was last year. Better suited to maybe making it competitive with an elite team.
I would agree. I mean, if it was Kirk Cousins, I would totally agree with you there. And let's see if they can grow Dobbs and get him there and get him to that point to where you're saying.
All right, that's one superlative. Do you have one?
I have so many superlatives for the next one. Okay, I mean, one of them, just from the Giants' perspective, could be ew, but I'm gonna go to the positive Raiders part for Antonio Pierce and smoke them if you got him. Because they were smoking that stuff after the game.
I'm surprised the sprinklers didn't go off in the locker room with all those cigars that were there.
I mean, they were acting like they won the Super Bowl. But, hey, good for them for celebrating. Again.
Part of it's ding dong, the witch is dead.
100%. I'm with you there. I think it's just, hey, the New England way is out of our building. We can relax and take breath and have, fun playing football. I think that's part of it, too. Antonio Pierce being an ex-player, right? He understands the energy, what it takes there, how to unite a locker room. It's a fun little thing. A team hasn't won, a ton of games this year, but that was, one. Even before Daniel Jones got hurt, it didn't look good for the Giants. The Wink Martindale, the defense of the Giants, has been so great all year. Really, the Raiders came out kind of having their way with the Giants' defense. Giants were in a hole early, and then when Daniel Jones got hurt, and it didn't look good. It just, I feel like, totally deflated the Giants organization there. And then we were back to Tommy DeVito. And, of course, he was better than last week, but it's certainly not anything right now that would give you confidence to think he can lead them to a victory, in a normal fashion or way as the quarterback.
More proof that there just aren't enough quarterbacks. He should not be playing. No. But Tyrod Taylor's on injured reserve after the chest injury, the rib cage injury. And Yeah, and maybe they got to get him ready because we'll talk about Jones coming up. It doesn't look good there. But for the Raiders, it's funny. There was a story making the rounds last week that was clearly fake. But I had so many people that were like wishing it was true, that were like, you need to look into this. The story about
Halloween?
Josh McDaniels dressed up as Mark Davis for Halloween.
Right, I saw
brought
that.
in P.F. Chang's because that's Mark Davis's favorite restaurant. Right. And Davis and McDaniels ended up eating together, and the fortune cookie that McDaniels opened said, "You're fired." And it's so
I mean, that would be the greatest movie moment of all time.
It's so obviously phony.
Right.
But people wanted it to be true. But Jay Glazer reported yesterday that when the stuff hit the fan the Thursday before that Monday night loss to the Lions, they had a team meeting and the players unloaded on Josh McDaniels over and over again. So Antonio Pierce speaks on behalf of the coaches, and he says, hey, we need to have a culture here where we think we can beat anyone, kind of like the Giants in 2007, and we beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And McDaniels got pissed and said to him, never talk about the Patriots like that again. And it's like, are you freaking kidding me? So as Glazer reported it, that got to Davis, and Davis said, I'm going to go with the guy that chooses to believe.
Right.
Isn't that amazing if that's what caused Davis to do it?
You know, I mean, to take a quote from Hunter Renfrow, right? I think the whole organization was walking on eggshells a little bit. You know, it's a shame because, you know, Josh McDaniels, I think he realized the mistakes he made in Denver the first time around, and it seemed like some of the same mistakes happened again in Las Vegas, and that's what's disappointing. But there's the Raiders, not a great football team. Here they are at 4-5 and kind of staying relevant. Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. They'll keep fighting. We'll see what kind of energy Antonio Pierce can bring to the squad week in and week out here, and we'll see where it goes. And
might need more cigars.
And my New York Giants are doomed.
Yeah. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.